So this is Kara with the Ministry of Uncover No More. I'm waiting to take a left at a stop sign. All of a sudden, this little town is getting kind of busy for some reason. TGIF, whatever. There's a saloon down the street. My daughter and I are probably going to try it someday soon. Anyway, God, I pray for safety in this little town where I cannot take a left-hand turn because there's so many cars going by. Okay. This is going to be my sermon on the sofa, but it's going to be, instead of Sunday, it's going to be Friday because I'm going... I actually get to take a few days off and not be a person. I can just be a person that's taking a day off. I don't need a few days. I don't know how to do this, America. Because when you're me, for me, like George Hahn says on Twitter, I love it every time he says for me, because he says it the New York way, and it's better than the Texas way. But for me, for real, large family homeschooling, bullshit out the wazoo, swimming against the tide most of my life because my daddy said to do it that way, and I'm just like, okay, I forgive you now, Dad. Because I also got beefed on because bullshitted because we were doing things kind of swimming against the tide, and my kids don't like it, some of them, and some of them are okay with it, some of them don't. But then there's the whole ministry thing that I've been doing for going on 13 years, which I finally told somebody meaningful in my life the other day that, if people had actually acknowledged that I'm in ministry, I wouldn't be in this shit show right now. I mean, I said that. And they couldn't disagree with me. Whether or not they're going to be able to change their own perspectives after the last bullshitting of the past 13 years is not my business anymore. It is my business when everybody won't put their clean clothes away. I'm just the stupid mother who actually admitted to one of my teen daughters she's an adult now. I was like really happy with myself that I realized I didn't need to fold my panties. And she turned to me and said, Mom, I've never done that. You could just throw them in the drawer. And she didn't say that. She was really kind and humble about it. I just laughed out loud at myself. I said, oh my gosh, why did it take me this long to figure it out? Well, I'll tell you why it took me that long to figure it out. Because I'm a girl who has been in the Christian church for way too long. I've had more than one person say, well, it's a good thing I wasn't in the church as long as you. That is no consolation prize at this point, people. None. Period. No consolation prize at this point, just because you can say that you weren't in the Christian church as long as I was when it comes to walking out of the bullshitty habits that we had and then picking through that shit show mess of what's not Christian and saying, I need to go back to some of my habits because I do believe in faithfulness in things, I believe in faithfulness in things. And what I'm going to say is this. I have pinned on one of my Twitter the excellent people pontificating, and I retweet their stuff on a regular basis. They've got great blogs. They've got great perseverance. They've got universalism going on for them. Some of them, their lives are broken. And I just want to go see them, and I just want to fix it. And we can't do that, but we can be there for each other. And that's a beautiful side of social media that I do appreciate. I'm starting to appreciate it more and more with the way my life has become isolated because of the calling on my life is tribe, Judah, elect, Gentile. Now, this whole series of articles that are supposed to go on UncoveringNoMore.blog, it's supposed to be like 3 parts. And I tried to do a YouTube this morning when I was meditating, and I couldn't, and it didn't take well anyway because I was outside, so the wind messed with my voice. I have turned the air conditioning down. Hopefully this will be a better take. And I'm not gonna spew the vitriol that I had to get out of my system because I'm still healing and mourning the death of my dad. I'm sorry if you consider me a mean person, that I am glad that my mother went. She was suffering terribly for the entire 13 years I was pulled up out of obscurity into the ministry of Uncover No More. My mother suffered, and it wasn't her fault. But I'm angry at my mother and her family because they put pressure on her entire life to withhold the truth, some of which probably even from my dad. I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't want to know. I can't even tell people that are close to me what I know. They literally take my head off. I have no idea why I get bullied so badly. I didn't earn this, y'all. I didn't earn this kind of treatment. And I can guarantee you nobody is thinking about the fact that the King of Kings in my life didn't either. Never did. And we're talking about a dude that's eternal. Well, you're talking about that with me too. Then, at this point, if you haven't acknowledged that and you're still in my life, whether you like that or not, okay, I'll play your games. I've been doing it the past 13 years. What the blog article, the 3-part was about, or is about, is a piece of artwork called it's spelled EverymaWoman, then with a large WOMAN. I redid a pronoun for everyone and made it neither male nor female. And I've got the blog article started. The artwork is there. It's at my house. It needs to sit there because of what I'm sharing in this YouTube. I am featuring Jamie O'Neill from Smirking Chimp, Jeff Tiedritz, 19 years, a whole plethora of gorgeous writers. I could make a full-time job arting beside them, reading poetry and arting with that. And the God Pod at the Good God Above's show, there is just a wealth of information going on there that they keep it fun, and they are telling the truth about many of us that are actually family, and we know it, and we still have to be careful. That's all I can say about that. Frank Schaefer is interviewing person after person that I could just sit and listen to. And did I mention read poetry and do the artwork on that? Right now, I'm in this gorgeous book with Elizabeth Barrett and Robert Browning, the Barrett Brownings. This is the same kind of thing. It's blessing me in a way, because in my Christian life, when I didn't even had not even birthed all my children, in my Christian life, I did this same kind of book. It was just as thick too. The letters of Lady Bird Johnson, who, we have the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center here in Texas, and I haven't been in a while. there's some things I need to do in Austin. Finally, I can slow down. My youngest children are old enough, and I need to take them, and I need to go. But see, the thing is I get fussed at everything I do. Everything. All joy in my private life was taken away because of what people did to me. I'm not crying, but I want to. It's useless to cry. It's not going to do any good. Nobody's changing for me. So at least you know who my friends are. It's not the people I'm talking about that I've got to choose not to cry. I love them. I love everyone I'm talking about. I've never been nurtured. But I have nurtured and been misunderstood and lied about. So, but I'm not living in a country like Afghanistan where women can be flogged in front of a bunch of men just because she laughed the wrong way. And so that's what this article, I've already got 2 Afghanistan articles on Uncovered No More, and one on another one of my blogs, because of the misunderstandings and the stupid social media platform bullshitting that's going on between Republicans and Democrats. It should be a crime in and of itself, and it's not. And then I am featuring a woman in Alabama who was like, my neighbor, I could start crying. She's so sweet. And I listened to the video. I watched her on video, and I could hear the sexist, white supremacist men who would tear her apart for one thing, one word. And I encountered it in Jackson, Mississippi, and I didn't even bat an eye. It's just their, it is their accent. I definitely have a white trash Texas accent. I can pull it out so fast it'll make your head spin. I got kids. No, Mom, you're not white trash. Oh, yes, I am white trash. You do not know how white trash I actually am. Am I proud of it? No. I just am going to be real. I am not one of these people that puts a glossiness on my life. Okay, so I'll wear bras and put some makeup on. But, I need to be me. And Davis Beatty, we're white trash. We just are. Ain't nothing you're going to do about it. And I'm thankful at this point because people have tried to degrade me. And I have been under a tremendous amount of rejection. And nobody cares. But I'm not a slave, and I'm not a Muslim woman that can be beat, flogged in front of men. So I have to keep that in perspective and not feel sorry for myself, okay? And they can't even feel sorry for themselves. They're doing for their children and themselves. And that's the point. Let me go back to her. The word is, I can't even say it the way a lot of black-skinned people in the South say it. Ask. A-S-K. They switch the K and the S. It's gorgeous. It's their accent. And it's just like Asian people. There's, I forget which letters it is. They cannot say these letters in our language, but I can understand them perfectly, and it's their accent. See? So, I know, though, if the wrong people watch her gorgeous video about how she went door to door and she had helpers and she had people that would actually give the vaccine to these people in her town, and it was elderly people that were probably going to get, it was in an area, I forget which area, I'm trying to stay out of politics, so I'm not getting into the details. It was in an area where people are back in the hospital. Children are testing positive because they're being put back into schools. Okay? And she meaningfully increased the percentages of people that were vaccinated in her town by going door to door with a support group. And the interviewer asked, how long did it take you to talk them into it? She said, not long at all. And these people would willingly take it. What a savior. She is the literal savior, Jesus Christ, in the modern day. Dark black woman, gorgeous, coming against all the angst, all the fear, and saying, let's save each other's lives if we can, and stop listening to the fear mongering. Just like Harriet Tubman, she's Harriet Tubman all over again. The King of Kings in a black woman form. Well, Kara, are you that? I don't give a shit what you think I am. I want you to listen to these black ladies, Harriet Tubman and this other woman. It's Alabama, I think she's in, and I'd live there. I know what the racism is like over there. So don't give me bullshit about anything, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like in Mississippi. I've lived there. Had my first child in Mississippi for such a testimony as this. I know what it's like to comfort couples that are husband black, wife white, two different couples experiencing racism everywhere. State of Texas. So, I'm done. I'm done with people making me feel like a piece of bullshit, but I have to put both feet on the floor every bit as much as Harriet Tubman did back in her day. And we do have more to deal with when it comes to, well, it's not the Underground Railroad, is it, America? What is this exactly? What is this? This is, I'm just silent. I don't know what you want to call this. Hell on earth? This is hell on earth. So I featured her. My Afghanistan 2 article, I had already pointed out, okay, the 20 years that we were in Afghanistan, can we not focus a little bit at least on the fact that women were helped instead of just talking about all these leaders that were maybe, or because people are objecting to war, and that's not wrong. But America really has helped people, and that is correct. Too. See, we're in a world where a lot of positions are correct. Let me say that again. We're in a world where a lot of positions are correct. When are we going to listen and balance this? For the sake of children, for the sake of old people, for the sake of people like me, who had my whole life taken away because I testified through the dwelling of the King of Kings on earth. There's millions of me who just have our life taken away and everybody walks off. Okay, and so that's already on my blogs. That, come on, let's not just focus on the negativity of the war. Let's remember that we did accomplish some positivity. And I was kind of joking at the beginning of this commentary. This is a political commentary, actually. And I admitted that some of my Christian habits are coming back into my life. They never left. because I'm a pagan before I'm a Christian. And I'm an agnostic before that. I've said here lately, may God in all capitals forgive me, that agnostic was forced on me. Actually, what I have done in 13 years as an evolutionistic, universalistic piece of white trash is traveled forward and backward at the same time in time, and then busted outside of time. What that means is I was born, my parents were saved, and I became a Christian with them at the age of 7, was baptized in a Pentecostal church. Then, in the 13-year epiphany, I had to inform my family, first off, that I was pagan. I actually, because of the sexual control in a woman's life in Christian midst, I actually went through a time of wishing I could have been pansexual just so that I could have had freedoms. But it wouldn't have fit my core anyway. Because I'm so heterosexual, it's funny. Doesn't matter what time I'm living in. I am who I am. And it's just nice to have that remain stable. But I'll admit that when you go through the kind of metamorphosis that I went through, you're going to mourn. You're going to see all these other people had all these other things that they got to have fun. Now, maybe they have pain in their lives because of the karma involved with their fun. I'm not talking about that. But nonetheless, it's not, I don't know how to be anything but wide open honest. So when I went from Christian to pagan, I could actually, with the people close up, mainly Curtis, I could point out where people were in the Christian church were reacting to my paganism. Because pagans, while they may actually worship the girl form of a human, that's more balanced in America because of the population of Catholic Christian that have been taught to idolize men. And see, you're seeing the idolization of men in the United States, white men in the United States of America still. When something happens like Afghanistan and we need to remove from it, and all you're going to hear about is how good or bad the white boys were in their decision making. See, that's idolatry at its basic level. They can't even stop masturbating these dudes and the people around them long enough to appreciate in those 20 years what was accomplished for women. Now, if that doesn't make some of us women in the United States not feel like a piece of trash, we're just numb. I do feel like a piece of trash on a regular basis because I do understand these kinds of things about the onslaught of social media and we are living in a society where people get more life out of watching TV and going to work and paying their bills, and that's it, than anything else. Yet, I beat myself up on a regular basis, perhaps righteously, because I'm not involved with politics. But you know what? I'm going to stop doing that in the name of the King of Kings, because I am involved with him. And there's only so much of the politics he can get involved with. You can believe me or not, but I happen to know that. Okay. So there were several parts. I'm going to put it all in one part on Uncovered No More. Jamie O'Neill is a father figure to me, and so is Jeff Tiedridge from Smirking Chimp. They're father figures, just like At the Good God Above is. And I don't know his name because he... I'm not going to talk about why, because... And I named At the Good God Above my pastor from a distance because they talk Christian. And they help me laugh about what the fuck I just went through the past 13 years. So I do artwork for them. Sometimes I have a book. I have a pink book, sir, At the Good God Above. I have a pink book that's yours. And what I do with it is that's you and me. Because you're helping me. I really appreciate it. You're helping me get my humor back about life in general. Just life in general, okay? And so I'm throwing runes for you and me. And our book, your book, if I ever get to meet you, I'll give it to you. Otherwise, it's going to be under lock and key, and I'll destroy it upon my death. I'll have it destroyed upon my death. It's just because. Just because this is true doesn't mean that this isn't true. See, just because is our book. So in this podcast situation where I'm discussing this podcast, I've mentioned Frank Schaefer's podcast. I've got some others. I'm not going to mention them because they've come under persecution for their voice, and I want them to be happy too. So those two I feel safe with right now. Frank Schaefer is not a father figure; he's a brother figure to me. And I did book review. I did book review. It's off my websites now from his parents' books, and I have a son who actually told me, because I told him once, I understood you better when I read Francis Schaeffer's How Should We Then Live? And so he got a Christian and to explain to read it with him. And that touched my heart while I was going through a bunch of bullshit. So thank you, Patrick, for telling me that detail and for actually taking time with someone because your mom said one thing. I appreciated his sensitivity to me. My sons are sensitive, but they've been raised in this bullshitty country too. And some of my sons tend to be, well, at least two of my three sons, I don't know about one of them, but they tend to be conservatives. And I am nothing conservative anymore. And it's because of my Christian experience. I can't be a conservative anymore. It makes me sick to my stomach to even think about it. So we're having to learn to not argue because they may even consider themselves more balanced than me, and I disagree with that, but respectfully. And that's where, just because Mom has been bullshitted all her life by conservatism doesn't mean she can't hear those points. But what she asks is that millennials and Gen Z actually start having a discussion. My family does have discussions, so we're already there. Thank you, family. Actually have these discussions with parents, not with parents. Learn to not fight. Just because we all got thrown into a country like a bunch of dice in a Yahtzee game doesn't mean that we have to just knock each other up and around in that cup. We can actually start working together and get a full house, get a Yahtzee, get whatever. Okay? And that's straight out of the Bible. I am confident of this very thing, that he, being the King of Kings who died on the cross and arose again, he who began a good work in all of us, not just Christians. Oh my God, have mercy on me. Do I need to? I'm on I-35. There's a bunch of really tall buildings here, but I can't see the Capitol right at the moment. We are bumper to bumper. It's okay. It's okay, y'all. There's the Hilton Garden Inn. No, I have not stayed there. There's a Super 8 on the left. I haven't stayed there either. There's I'm passing the visitor center. Next right. So I see Avis. I see Budget. Oh goodness, I don't see what that's called. Gorgeous buildings here in Austin. Anyway, I'm 8th through 3rd Streets, Huston through Tillotson University. I haven't driven in through that area. There's a Valero station. So anyway, I believe we will get there someday, and that's where I'm gonna plug for Runestones again, brothers and sisters of America who are citizens like me and just don't know what the fuck is going on, like me. Austin's Original Craft Vodka is right here. Tito's on the sign. Okay. Anyway. Runestones, y'all. Runestones. The new pronoun that I'm publishing, it's going to take a while. What I was going to tell you about it, this is something about tarot cards. What I was going to tell you about it is I retired and put under lock and key my floral tarot and went to dragons. I'm using only the major arcana of dragon tarot. But I'm saving the rest of the deck, and we'll get to it later. But always runes. I don't ever put those down. I've heard of tarot masters that have like up to 25 decks. So I'm 55. We'll see how many I put under lock and key after I use them. Will I take them out again later? I hope so. I hope so. I think some books, poetry, perhaps biographies, autobiographies, things like that, are better being used with, say, my floral deck. The dragons. Have you watched Dragon Training? Because I'm someone who understands the relevance of the young people for the children, the young people. But I can start crying. That's the young people in Afghanistan as much as it's the young people in the United States. Are you gonna someday hear me, America? I think the biggest thing we need to hear each other on is that those 20 years of sacrifice did bring forth a voice of freedom for women worldwide, and particularly in the Middle East. I want to respect Middle Eastern religion, but you cannot respect any religion that finds it okay, acceptable, required authority to flog a wife. You can't respect that if you're a real girl anywhere. So I want Muslim men in America to think about it, because you came to America and you like it here. I'm not one of those idiots coming up to you and telling you, go back to where you came from. That's bullshit. You belong here. But you can take your voices and gently, respectfully get your compatriots in your countries out. Your children can do that. But I don't know how to say that, because I happen to know the ways of people. And for me to say something as revolutionary as that means I must cry, because it will require more human sacrifice to get the people to stop their religious and zealous fervor that is killing one another. Because people don't stop ugliness on their own for some reason in this day and age. I'm going to close coming down to earth, so to speak, because one issue that spoiled, rotten people from baby boomers down to Gen Z have a problem with in the United States of America is simple obedience. As a matter of fact, I happen to know people who have it down to a science, because they know that they're not going to get away with that they're not going to get quote unquote punished or reprimanded or anything much taken away. So they actually take pleasure in disobedience. It's a very, very mild form of sadistic behavior, but the problem is I now have a sadistic behavior meter, because I am around so many people that take pleasure in other people's pain, sitting on lies, not willing to come forward bravely and say, we did this to you and we shouldn't have. So I'm going to conclude with American spoiled rotten bullshitters who need to stop enjoying disobedience. I think it's a first step of perspective to stop enjoying disobedience. Okay. Have a nice weekend.